With this, I would like to introduce our President, Mr. Vijay Kumar. He is a senior cybersecurity professional with over 23 years of versatile experience in the information security realm and work experience spread across IT, telecom, consulting and training. He is currently the Global Head, Cybersecurity Services, Tata Communications. He is an expert in setting up InfoSec organizations and has established governance, risk and compliance initiatives in various organizations. He has attained 20 plus globally recognized security related certifications and one of the person to hold a SANS lethal forensic coin for demonstrating forensic skills. Let's give him a round of applause for him. He is an eminent speaker in various cybersecurity forums in India and international locations, including ISC2, Chennai, DSCI, SAIC, CISO, ISACA, FICCI, and Team Simuru. He has written several articles on cybersecurity topics and provides expert opinion in various cybersecurity related and has published a lot of magazines in security forums and social media channels. Now I request our President to deliver the welcome address.
You all happy 2024. This is our first program in this year organized by Cyber Society of India. I am seeing a lot of participants, students. There are new faces as well. Before formally welcome everyone, let me give a brief overview about SAIC, what we do. Cyber Society of India formed in 2004 by the like-minded people, including government, judiciary, police department, then law enforcement people, the advocates, cyber security professionals, IT professionals. The objective of forming this group is to impart awareness to the common people on emerging cyber threats, cyber security related matters, and then how do we prevent or how do we overcome such situations, right? So if you look at vision of this organization is to impart cyber security awareness on emerging trends, emerging topics, then again it could be related to privacy, data privacy or cyber security related matters. We wanted to have a clean internet. We wanted to have an ethical behavior and clean internet, right? That is our mission. So to achieve this particular vision, we have been closely, efficiently working with government agencies, law enforcement, again with the help of lawyers, cyber security programs. SAIC has been organizing many physical workshop, virtual workshop. We have also conducted many programs to colleges, right? And when we have a subject matter experts in our SAIC forum, they do participate in multiple debates related to various cyber security matters to providing a cyber security opinion, right? That is one. And constantly we have been doing a lot of mailing. Like October month is being celebrated as a cyber security month, and we have done a lot of campaign reaching out to students, our SAIC members. Our life members act as an ambassador for taking the cyber security related matters to common people, netizens, to make them aware of all the emerging cyber security related threats, again the cyber crime related various scenarios and the guidelines. This is the mission we have been working. We took charge in July 2023 with the able leadership of myself and Mr. Balusar's guidance and mentorship. We are committed to have a program once in 2 months, the physical workshop. And if you look at for the past like 6 months, we have jointly worked with Cybercrime Department Tamil Nadu, and we organized 2 programs already. This is our 3rd program. The first program, monetization to cyber victims, right? Adjudication under the IT Act 2003. That is something we have done it. Subsequently, how to compact cybercrime scenario. This is the panel discussion we have done. Then in the month of October, we celebrated the Cyber Security Awareness Month. We celebrated. Subsequently, we have also conducted 2 programs in the colleges in and around Chennai to create awareness on cyber security related matters. Now this is the program we are starting in year 2024, and we will organize many more programs, such programs involving the experts from various industry. One of the significance for this program is this is the national workshop we are conducting, which means if you look at, you would have seen this, the speakers detail, right? It is not only limited to the speakers in Tamil Nadu in this state, right? There are speakers who will be talking about the cyber security related matters from the other state. There are speakers from Bangalore, speaker from UP, speaker from Delhi. These are all subject matter experts, legal experts who will be talking in this topic today. So today's topic is freezing bank accounts in cybercrime. For this national workshop, basically to inaugurate this workshop, we have a chief guest. It is my privilege and honor to welcome the chief guest, Dr. Justice S. Vimala, former Judge, High Court of Madras. Welcome, ma'am. And the chief guest, Dr. A. Tyagarajan, Senior Advocate, Madras High Court. Welcome, sir. And I cordially welcome all our speakers who are present in physical, as well as who is going to talk virtually on this today's topic. I welcome all the participants as well as the students as well. We would encourage students, participants to make a note of any questions, any clarifications. I think the 3 o'clock we'll also actually collect the feedbacks from you, and then we'll consolidate. We are happy to respond to all your queries, right? This is the approach. So today's topic, before we hand it over to the chief guest and our secretary, I wanted to touch upon today's topic, setting the context on the digital payments landscape. So if you look at the digital the payments in India, broadly into 8 to 9 categories of digital payments, right? As we all know, the payment through online transactions, payment is done through debit, credit cards, again the UPI, which is very famous, right? Unified Payment Interface. Then we have a mobile wallets, again the internet banking, ATM banking, right? The various methods are available. Among all those things, if you look at, UPI was introduced, Unified Payment Interface was introduced in 2016. This was developed by NPCA, National Payment Corporation of India, regulated by RBI, Reserve Bank of India, right? Since 2016, since the inception of this particular UPI, this has been rapidly growing, right? Today as we speak, today morning there is a news. India introduced UPI in the France, Eiffel Towers, right? So already 27 countries are using UPI. To talk about some of the stats, right? Because when it comes to the cybercrime today, 70% of the cybercrimes are related to financial fraud. Again, if you look at the bifurcation of financial fraud, the majority falls under the UPI related frauds, right? Because this is where the more transactions are happening, more adoption is done, right? Today, you can walk or roam around, complete the India without carrying the wallet, right? Only thing is you need a mobile phone. You can do the purchase wherever you wanted to visit, whatever you wanted to buy, you'll be able to do. Start from the transaction 1 rupee to lakhs, right? This is we are able to do. So if you look at some of the stats, which is mind-boggling, right? How we transformed, because the government of India mission is to create digitally empowered economy, which is basically faceless, paperless, and cashless. This is the mission vision the government of India is working, right? How over a period of like 7 to 8 years time, this UPI evolved is today as we speak, 263 million users in India using UPI transaction, UPI, right? If you look at the transaction wise per day, 360 million transactions per day done using UPI. This is the second thing. Third is, if you look at like per day, right, or the last quarter, Q4 of 2023, there are 13 billion transactions are done. 27 countries are using the UPI as we speak, and this is continuing to grow, extending to more and more countries, right? If you look at the global digital economy, right, India using the digital payments 46%, our contribution. Basically, India accounted for 46% of digital transaction. We are the pioneer, we are the front runner when comparing to the developed countries. This is where we are, right? At the same time, let's look at quickly on the NCRB data, what it says, right? National Crime, again the Bureau report clearly says, as per the 2021, there are 55,000 cybercrime cases reported, out of which close to 21,000 related to the financial fraud, right? Again, if you look at the bifurcation, predominantly excluding some of the things related to debit, credit, online fraud, majority 80% of them related to the UPI related frauds, right? This is one aspect. Now again, if you look at like government has done a lot of initiatives to create awareness on cybercrime related reporting channels, right? If anybody come across or fall victim of cybercrime related the matters, they can visit any of the nearby police station, launching a complaint, any police station. They can also call 1930, this is the national helpline number to report the financial fraud related cybercrime matters. They can also lodge a complaint through online, right? cybercrime.gov.in. These are various methods. Because of the government initiatives, banks, RBI is doing a lot of awareness. Now if you look at awareness has increased to the reasonable level as a security forum, cybercrime forum. We have been imparting a lot of training, awareness, each and every forum. We have been emphasizing on reporting channels as well, right? Now if you look at this as increased to the reasonable level, that is where the cybercrime related cases are started reporting. Now because of this particular defined the procedures, now the cybercrime department is also able to initiate actions on reported cases as soon as, right? Once reported, after collecting all the details, they are initiating actions of freezing the account of that cyber criminal who has done this particular activity. So today's objective of the session is basically to have a inclusive, balanced solution, right? Without impacting law-abiding citizens, okay? While the government is initiating, law enforcement is initiating actions on freezing the cybercrime account, how they can take an inclusive decision, right? Because there are two scenarios. If cybercrime criminals are due to cybercrime, any of the cybercrime activity, the money is transferred to the cyber criminal, right? That account gets freezed, right? It is a straightforward. But in a normal scenario, once it lands on a cyber criminal account, from there it gets distributed to multiple accounts, tens and hundreds of accounts within few seconds, right? Now the key thing is, one is where it lands, the police will take action on freezing the account. Second thing is, they will also have a track on the money trail, right? Which all accounts gets distributed. Now, the second scenario where we have a challenge is, if the cybercrime involved money gets into the account of legit business, right? Or the innocent person, right? If account gets breached, assume the scenario of Mr. Vasudevan will talk about the actual scenario, right? What was the impact? But however, just I wanted to give a glimpse, right? Now in this case, he is a legitimate business owner running a business, 100+ people are actually working in this organization. In some source, the money involved in a cybercrime activity gets into their accounts, right? Through some transaction, which they are not aware, right? Now they get impacted if it gets freezed. Whether it has to freeze the whole amount or whatever amount, that is where it has to be inclusive and balanced decision. To talk about, deliberate on this topic, we have a chief guest, legal experts from basically judiciary, the law enforcement people will be joining. We wanted to hear views from other state, how do they handle such cases as well. That is the reason we made this workshop as a national workshop, inviting the speakers across various states to get a view and provide necessary recommendations to appropriate channel to for the due consideration. To set this context and objective, I once again welcome the chief guest and all the participants, make this session much more like a constructive discussion. Thank you once again. Yeah, thank you.